The Democrats are a party full of chaos. Don't believe me? Well, let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to the Shermichael Singleton Show. I'm your host, Shermichael Singleton. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to be notified of our future episodes. Like this video, drop those comments, and always be sure to please share it across your social media. We want to bring and invite as many people as we possibly can to be a part of the conversation. Now, Democrats have been upset ever since they lost the election last November. And if I got to be frank with you, they have a problem that they don't know how to solve. Now, you don't lose working class Latinos, the working class voters in general, and a subset of black men, and even young voters all in one cycle unless your brand is poison. And make no mistake about it, the Democratic brand is more poisonous than a bite from a rattlesnake. And people are frankly sick and tired of hearing about systemic this, phobic that, and the cancel culture that always follows the moment you do not accept their weird-ass ideas about culture and norms. And Democrats may notch some wins here and there, as we have frankly seen in some of the recent special elections. And we'll see what happens in the upcoming races. We have some tomorrow and others in the next couple of weeks and months ahead. But unless Republicans get our act together on the economic front, that's just the swing of the political pendulum. Hardly a sign of strength, in my view, for Democrats. If Republicans don't deliver on the promises of making the economy stronger for the working class, then they will be angry and they won't vote for us. They'll just stay home, and Democrats will be able to turn out their people. And that's just the nature of these types of things when you're in the winner's seat. You got to deliver. Otherwise, things will slowly start to swing back to the other side. However, Democrats' issue are so deep that a few wins here or there are nothing more than cosmetic surgery on a dying body. The brand is tainted. You don't believe me? Just listen to what some Democrats have said themselves, like Gavin Newsom.
It's really been interesting, the reaction to the podcast. I mean, we had some controversial figures on, I'll acknowledge that, and Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and some others. But you're right. I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves, or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that.
Look, that's Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He cited the recent NBC poll, 27% approve of Democrats right now. He basically said they're making no sense. He talked about cancel culture, which I just referenced in my opening monologue. You see, the Democratic Party has been hijacked by these activists, these radical left activists, these academics, theorists, and these self-righteous scolds who care more about pronouns and performative outrage than they actually care about governing, than they actually care about talking to people who may differ, which is the point of Gavin Newsom. But it's not just Newsom who's making this point, who obviously wants to run for president. That's why he sat down with Steve Bannon, and that's why he sat down with Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA, because he's trying to reach across the aisle, because Newsom, as liberal and progressive as he may be, even he has had a sudden epiphany that you got to reach beyond the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, that the progressive nightmare that we have seen, some of these ridiculous, ludicrous policy ideas just frankly aren't representative of where most of the American people are. These aren't the beliefs that most of us have. Even their own voters don't buy into a lot of the AOC, Bernie Sanders, and as of late, Jasmine Crockett rhetoric as it pertains to solving the problems of day-to-day people. Newsom knows that. But again, it's not just Newsom. Now you even have members of Congress in the Senate, like Senator Bennett, also saying the exact same thing as Gavin Newsom.
Governor Gavin Newsom went so far as to say the Democratic brand is toxic right now. Senator, those are powerful words. Do you agree that the Democratic brand is toxic?
I do agree that the Democratic Party brand is really problematic. And I think that It is a brand that is, with all respect to my colleague from California, is associated with New York and with California, is associated with the educated elites in this country, and not anymore with working people in this country.
And look, Bennett is right. He's a senior senator out of Colorado. He's right. He's right to say what Gavin Newsom has said and has been saying as of late, that the Democratic brand is toxic. He's right to say that Democrats are out of touch on culture. They're out of touch on what most people believe. He's right that it is a party consumed and filled with educated elites. And the hubris of these elites have inoculated them from the realities and the struggles of everyday life of hardworking people. They have forgotten what it's like to struggle. When is the last time any one of them had to check their bank account before they got to the checkout line? When was the last time one of them went to the gas station to say, hey, put $10 on number 2, hoping that that would be enough to get them for the next 2 or 3 days until the paycheck hit their banks? When was the last time one of them had to call the renter's office or the bank who holds their mortgage to say, I need an extra week or 2 because I'm behind again, I'm sorry? When was the last time any one of these people were underwater in debt because they didn't have any other way to take care of their bills because they had to get credit cards or a payday loan, or they were constantly late, so the interest starts to pile up? That isn't the reality of this hubris of this elite class of Democrats. Harvard professor Michael Sandel properly named it meritocratic hubris. These people who believe that they got it all themselves, they got it all on themselves, and they don't understand why nobody else got it. Why didn't you go to Harvard or Yale or Brown or Stanford or NYU or Columbia or Georgetown or William and Mary or the University of Virginia? Your parents couldn't refinance the home to get you that loan. Well, why don't you own a home? Your parents couldn't get out a loan for you so that you could get your house. Well, what do you mean it's hard out there? You're just not working hard enough. If you made the right decisions, your life would be just as good as mine. It is that meritocratic hubris that Michael Sandel appropriately pointed out that I think is so accurate. The French philosopher once coined the term anomie. And he basically said it's when you have quick and rapid cultural change that leaves everybody else behind. And then you start to see a fractured breakdown of society. They don't understand any of these things because they look down upon you. That is why the Democratic Party is in the place that it's in. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with Republicans. It has nothing to do with gender, race. It has nothing to do with any of those things other than they look down on hardworking people. The party that once upon a time was the party of the working class. They were. It was the Republicans that was always viewed as a party of the rich. So the disillusionment, the dislocation with the political establishment writ large, but also with the Democratic Party as it pertains to its views about American society, couldn't be more clear. It could not be more clear why people do not trust the Democratic Party, because they have seen the inequalities expand. They have seen the cultural divisions. And quite frankly, it has been the Democratic Party that time and time again has sparked that rapid increase in all of these various breakdowns in the most critical aspects and parts of our economy, parts of our culture, parts of our society. It was Democrats who were advocated NAFTA, free trade agreement, destroyed middle class. It's been Democrats that have focused so much on all of these cultural issues that it's actually caused more dislocation and division compared to cohesion. All of these things have been the testament of the Democratic Party's, particularly the progressive wing's, idealism about this progressive utopia. And so again, when Democrats like Gavin Newsom out of California, the governor, Senator Michael Bennet, says the Democratic Party is toxic, that's what they're talking about. But Democrats, I don't think, have learned their lesson. Because they think because they've won a few special elections, which is why I brought up the special elections. They believe that the rebuke that they received in November was just a fluke. Oh, we're winning some special elections. They're winning special elections because the economy hasn't improved. That's why I said we as Republicans, as conservatives, we have got to get a grapple on the state of this economy, our economic affairs. People are still hurting. We have to fix that. And so as long as that persists, people are going to be angry and pissed off. They're going to blame that on us. You also pair that with the fact that we're likely not going to see the same turnout as Democrats. All of these variables have a negative outcome overall for the Republican Party. So Democrats will look at this and they will say, oh, November was a fluke. We can keep doing business as usual. Again, it's not a testament of their strength. It's a testament that people are pissed off with us because the economy still sucks. But the issues that plague the Democratic Party have not subsided. They're still there. When you're telling people that it's okay for boys to play girls' sports when the average person says that that's insane. It's not about discriminating against anyone, but this shit doesn't make any sense to the average person. When you're telling people that we need free trade and screw tariffs, although I think Trump needs to do a better job, but when you're saying that trying to bring jobs back to America just will never happen again, well, people are saying, well, not all of us are going to work in C-suite. Not all of us are going to be coders. But that's been the message from the Democratic Party. When you're telling us that we should continue to send billions of dollars to Ukraine, despite the fact that we don't have enough money for homeless in our own country, our schools suck, our roads and bridges suck. Technologically, it seems that the best of the best is only for the top, while the rest of the American people who are working hard, who are the foundation of this country, are still living as if they're in the 1950s in terms of access to a better society, to educate their kids, to have healthier living and longevity. We can't afford it, but we can afford to send hundreds of billions to Ukraine. We can't afford it, but we can afford to bring in millions and millions of people illegally, well, because they pay some taxes. Oh, they work the jobs that Americans don't want to work. Maybe if Americans made what they deserve to be paid, they would do those jobs. Again, the crux of the problem for Democrats has nothing to do with Republicans or Donald Trump. It is purely about Democrats. They are a toxic party with toxic values and toxic beliefs. And if you stick around them long enough, you'll become infected too. And you know what is terrible about an infection? If you don't cure it and stop it from spreading, it will infect every aspect of our society. Last election was a pause to that. It wasn't a cure to the symptom of the problem. Only Democrats can fix that. And so long as the progressive wing of their party continues to be strong, continues to have the loudest megaphone, the biggest voices, that infection's going to continue to spread. I'm Shermichael Singleton. If you've watched us on YouTube, again, subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop your comments, hit that notification bell to be notified of future videos. And I also want to invite you over to We the Free, that's WTF.tv. That is the digital streaming network that I have co-founded, where you can hear unfettered news, content, podcasts, and a lot of action-oriented content. It's free to join. Again, head over to WTF.tv. That's We the Free. We look forward to welcoming you to the We the Free family. I'm Shermichael Singleton. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.